skills assessment certificates. Today's video is just a very basic introduction to skills assessments for Australia when applying for a 482 employer-sponsored working visa. Um, this won't answer all your questions. It'll just give you a basic understanding of nationalities versus occupation versus requirements. And then also I'll run you through the costs of the skills assessment at the end of the video. So if you don't know, I'm a recruiter. I bring foreign workers into Australia. I hook them up with employers, get them job offers, and then we process working visas for them. Now, I've done this for 20 years. I bring in maybe 30 or 40 different occupations into Australia. But today I'll just talk about two of them, the most popular occupations that I fill in Australia with foreign workers. So the first one is a diesel mechanic, right? So depending on your nationality, meaning depending on what passport you use to travel on, will depend on the visa requirements for the 482 working visa in Australia. So if you're a diesel mechanic, let's say you come from one of these countries, I'll list them somewhere here. Fiji, Hong Kong, India, Macau, Philippines, South Africa, Thailand, Vietnam, or Zimbabwe. If you're a diesel mechanic from one of those countries, then you need to do a skills assessment exam. You'll need to receive a certificate from like VETASES or TRA or ACCT or ACTS to be able to lodge a 482 visa. If you're from one of these countries and you don't have a skills assessment, you cannot lodge a working visa to Australia, or you can't lodge the 482 working visa to Australia. Now, one more example, a fitter general, right? Fitters. Brazil, China, Fiji, Hong Kong, India, Macau, Philippines, South Africa, Thailand, Vietnam, and Zimbabwe. If you're a fitter and you're from one of these countries, you also need to do a skills assessment certificate. If you come from a country that's not one of those, then you can skip the skills assessment when applying for a 482 visa to Australia. Um, but do remember that generally you probably also need an English exam certificate, but I'll do another video on that one. Um, but if you're from, let's say, Ireland, Scotland, England, Canada, New Zealand, US, you could skip both the skills assessment and the English exam. So anyway, so what is a skills assessment? A skills assessment is basically it comes in two parts, right? It's basically the first part is checking your documents, right? Checking to make sure that your work experience and your training is legitimate and that you're not providing fake or fucking Photoshop documents pretending to be a skilled worker. So that's the first part. The stage one is checking your documents. And then once they verify your work history and your training, then you could do stage two. And stage two is an interview. It'll be a face-to-face interview. Sometimes it's online, like on Zoom, or sometimes it's in a testing center. It just depends where you're located and which assessing body you're doing the exam with. So the face-to-face interview, let's say if you were a cook, you'd be having an interview with an Australian chef. If you're a mechanic, you'd be having an interview with an Australian engineer. And that engineer is just going to talk to you and ask you questions about your job, about your training, about health and safety. His job is just to make sure that you really are the skilled in the occupation that you say you have experience in, right? Because as you know, you look at the news about India and fucking half the states in India, they can't apply for visas because they're just rampant with fake documents and fake certificates and bullshit references and stuff like that. So this is immigration's way of verifying um, to make sure you really are skilled and experienced in your job. The person who's doing the exam, their job is not to fail you. Their job is to make sure that the employer that's offering you a job, the employer that's bringing you to Australia is actually going to get a real worker, a real skilled, experienced worker. So yeah, that's the reason for the skills assessment. So anyway, doing a skills assessment, like I said, there's two parts. There's a document part, and then there's the face-to-face interview part. Now, there are two ways to do a skills assessment. When lodging and applying for a skills assessment, there's pathway one. Now, the difference between pathway one and pathway two is if you're able to make videos at work, if you're able to use your cell phone and take long videos at work showing yourself doing the tasks at work, you could look at doing the pathway one. Pathway one has three costs to it. There's the stage one cost, which is again the documentation side. That's about 1,100 Australian dollars. Once you pass that, they'll allow you to book the interview, which is the stage two. Stage two is 2,000 Australian dollars. Now, you can do all this online yourself, but if you find it too complex or too challenging, or you don't really understand how to do it, you'll need to get an expert or a migration agent to assist in preparing and lodging that skills assessment. Now, if you need assistance in doing that, for example, I myself, I charge $2,000 for assistance. I'll assist you with all the documents, explaining exactly what documents you need. And then if you're unable to provide all of the documents on the list, I'll teach you the alternative documents needed. And then we'll verify those documents, lodge those documents, and book you in for the interview. Now, if you are unable to get videos at work, maybe you work for a military or a government or a secure area, mine site or something like that, where they don't allow you to use your cell phone or have cameras at work or something like that, then you'd have to look at doing the pathway two option, right? And with the pathway two option, um, that's basically this is just really basically right. Basically, pathway two is for people that can't get videos. So without getting videos, you'd need to first do what's called an RPL certificate, RPL, recognition of prior learning, right? So that would be an additional cost. That could be anything between, depending on your occupation, it could be anything between, let's say, $1,500 to $2,500. So after that, you've got your stage one document evidence, $1,100, and then after that, you got your video, which again, your face-to-face interview. That's let's have a look. For pathway two, that's $900. So yeah, and if you need assistance in preparing and lodging and doing all the document side for you, again, we charge $2,000. So in brief, pathway one, people that can get videos. If you need assistance, 2,000. Document stage, 1,100. Interview with the Australian engineer or assessor, $2,000. Then you've got pathway two, right? So this is people that can't get videos. You'd start with an RPL. At worst, that's going to be $2,500. Then you've got your document submission, which is 1,100. And then the interview with the Australian assessor or engineer is cheaper in this pathway. That's $900. So yeah, I'll put some links that'll teach you how to do it yourself. If you can't work out how to do it and you need assistance, we charge $2,000 for assistance. Time frames to get this done. Stage one is generally done in, let's say 1 or 2 weeks. Booking for stage two, the face-to-face interview, will depend on the occupation and the company used for the assessment, because some occupations are booked out for 1, 2, or 3 months because they're so popular. Some may not have any. You might get one within a month. It's very difficult to explain the timeframes. So yeah, that's skills assessments for Australia. And this is the 482 visa, and this is for general, skilled, and trades workers. For other people like nurses, it's very different, and it's a lot more money involved. If you're a nurse, you might need something like an AFRA or ANMAC certificate. I'll run you through that in another video. So yeah, skills assessments for Australia, 482 visa, skilled and trades workers, costs and who needs them. Now, if you're not sure about your occupation and your nationality, I'm more than welcome to give you a basic reply. If you send me an email with 5 things, tell me your name, tell me your age, tell me your occupation, tell me your nationality, and how many years of experience you've got in that occupation. If you do that, I'll tell you if you need or don't need a skills assessment for the 482 visa, and I'll send you a link on how you can apply and submit one yourself. So that's it. If you like the video, press the like button. If you want more information and more tips, press the follow button. My name's Kano. Cheers. Have a good day.